Okay, this is what I have to say because everybody's asking for me to respond to these allegations and craziness that's been going on around the world with Spike Lee, Jada Pinkett Smith boycotting the Oscars. And all I got to say to that is, I get it. But to ask people to boycott the Oscars and do what? Because that's just a small part of it. You can't say boycott the Oscars but still go back to work with the same people that's doing this. Now what you gonna do? See, everybody have their own motives behind all of this stuff. See, the problem is people, they put their own personal self out there, and I was saying that before, that it has to relate to self, and then they try to generalize it like it's for everybody. Would Jada Pinkett Smith been making this statement if Will Smith got nominated for concussion? I mean, she could have made this rant last year. But she didn't. The Oscars have always had this problem. This ain't nothing new. When Hattie McDaniels won, what happened back then? She couldn't even come in. She wasn't even allowed in the place. So, we keep trying to force ourselves to be accepted by people that don't want to accept us. That is the problem. If they don't want us to be a part of something, or to grace the stage and to be more diversified, then I understand. But you also realize that this is a business and this is a show. There are more economic problems going on in the world than just dress up in red carpet. And the Oscar is not the binding power to bend all this madness that's going on in the world. You got people going to jail for selling ounces of weed, but yet for $19 million in Flint, Michigan, they wanted to save $19 million. They switched the water to a river that ended up ruining the pipes and causing lead poisoning. Nobody's in jail for that. That's like a mass genocide. You wiping out an entire city. All the kids, the future kids and everything. They can't even drink the water. It's so disgusting. Who's going to pay for that? But yet, these insensitive remarks are made. But she's right. And she's wrong. Her motive is wrong. And Jen, we get it. You don't like Will Smith. We understand. You don't like Will Smith. And anything that has to do with Will Smith pops up, we know your head is going to be the first one to go out there and say something. But you may make a point that was correct. Will Smith should have, and I repeat, should have made the statement himself if this was going to be the case. Don't let your wife do it and hide behind her. And don't ask young black actors who really, like, it's only 5 of them that they even allow in Hollywood. Ask them to risk their jobs to come out and for an award show, knowing it just tick people off and cost them work. You know, you guys are well off. These people are not. You could say forget the Oscars. They can't. They gotta eat. But if you don't have a plan in place, you shouldn't be talking about boycotting anything. When y'all can put out your own movies and distribute your own movies where you can hire and promote more ethnic colors, then we can start talking about diversity. And Stacey Dash, I didn't forget your crazy self. We understand you get a check from the Republicans through Fox. They just list you as a correspondent, and that's how you get paid your money. So I understand what you're doing, but you're just as worse as Jada Pinkett Smith and everybody else. Everything's generated around self. This is about you. This is about the Republican Party. This is what you're paid to do. You're saying, well, if we want to be segregated, we need to wipe out BET. We need to wipe out Black History Month. Why we got to have a Black History Month? And that's why I disagree. Well, since you don't know, I'll tell you why we have these things. We have them because none of our people are celebrated in this country. If we're Americans, why are we not treated like Americans? We shouldn't have to fight to get anything. And if you really believe so, come to Chicago on 55th Street. And then when the police come over there, you tell them, hey, I'm an American. I can do what I want to do. I'm an American. Come on over here. Walk up and down 55th Street. And then when you call the cops, tell them you're an American and a Republican. See how far that gets you. Listen. You used to work for BET. BET used to pay you checks. I didn't hear you saying we need to get rid of BET when you was on BET. So that makes you a hypocrite. See, it's always generated around self. And they put them on the TV supposed to represent us because her skin is dark. You don't represent us, Stacey Dash. You never did. You was always self-centered and always played a self-centered person because that's exactly what you were. Your entire life, you've been a self-centered human being. And I've heard people say this on the internet, and they keep saying, oh, well, white people don't have white. If we had white entertainment television, it would be an uproar. You don't need to put white on anything because you run all the other stations. Why do you need to put white on front of it? I mean, you could. It don't really make a difference. You already got white television. CBS, NBC, ABC, everything's white. So why would you need to put white entertainment television? But we're all Americans. Well then, let's be equal. Huh? Oh, we couldn't have that. Let's have equal owners opportunities. We don't have that. We don't have equal ownership opportunities, do we? But we're Americans, Stacey. Right? We're Americans. Why the incarceration law is different from African Americans to whites. But we all Americans, right? White guy do it. Oh, it's just a petty crime. Black guy do it. He's getting 2 years, 3 years starting off first offense, depending on what state he in. Same crime. Why? We're Americans, Stacey. We're Americans. The only answer is unify. Have a plan to unify. Do things for ourselves, by ourselves, and enjoy it for ourselves. If you have a lane, an opportunity to put out movies and distribute it on our own accord, if they don't want to be a part of it, fine, we'll step away from it. And won't have nothing to do with it, but we have a plan B. You're asking people to step away from something and don't have no plan behind it. Just because you're upset your husband didn't get an Oscar nomination. Idris Elba should have been nominated, and so should Will Smith. Matt Damon and The Martian should not have been nominated. No. But we all know it's politics. We all know that's how Hollywood works. Not everybody likes it, but it's the way it is. Ask them if they're going to put you in any movies on ABC, NBC, or even Fox. Since you're a correspondent now, which is the title they gave you so that they can pay you. And let go of that. What happened to you? Okay? Because I've already talked to a couple of people that worked with you before, and it didn't quite go the way you said it went. Because a lot of the people there weren't complaining about what they were bringing to the show. You were complaining about a raise. And the network didn't feel your character deserved a bigger raise on the show. Because you didn't really have too many stories that were around on Aunt Viv. And Will Smith's contract was individual. It wasn't tied with the rest of the show. But when they did it on Friends, there was a whole different structure. These guys all knew each other and worked together professionally and said, let's step back. They could do that. They have agents that were respected in the field. Where if all of them said, well, we're going to not shoot until we get this situation done, the show wasn't going to have a choice but to do that. Because the show was #1 in the country. See, Your Fresh Prince of Bel-Air wasn't a #1 show in the country type deal. It was a hit show, but wasn't #1 in the country. And on Monday nights, when people watched the show, it was watched by a lot of people. Now I won't say it wasn't, but you being replaced, I couldn't put that on Will's hands. That's your agent's call. But it wasn't Will that wasn't willing to go along and everybody else was aboard. And you know that. But you single Will Smith out as to say, well, if Will would have did it, everybody else would have just followed suit. That wasn't the case. It wasn't Will's responsibility as far as your negotiation with your contract. You and Will Smith were not friends. You and Will Smith didn't know each other like that. Okay, you guys started on the show and you guys met on the show and that's cool, but you all had your separate agency. So he wasn't obligated to do that. Even though they was like, oh man, if he'd have did that, that would have been cool, because they couldn't do the show without Will. They would just have to come back and pay us. It's not like that. What happened with Friends was no guarantee that was going to happen with a black show. You got yourself blackball. And this isn't the only situation. There was another situation your agent had for you. You know what? I'm done with that. Much success to you and whatever you're doing in the business today. I'm done going down that route. I'm not going to go to a whole thing, but this is the reason why we can't really take everything you say to the heart, because we know that you're a scorned woman, and a scorned woman will lash out with a lot of venomous things. But what you did say, you did have some valid points to it. So that's what I take in stride from it, is the validity of your points. And I think you made great points, and I want to take that out of it and give you credit for that. But BET, it has white owners, so it doesn't really matter. They're getting the money regardless. But it's funny, Stacey, since we're all Americans, go tell the Jewish people they shouldn't celebrate or have a Jewish holiday for the Holocaust. Go tell the Greeks that they shouldn't have the Greek festival. Go tell the Italians that they shouldn't celebrate for the Italians on their holidays. Go tell them that they need to get rid of their holidays because they're all Americans now. Tell them that. Then get back to me. I'm out.